Well, it's 1:45. Just got back from the old farts lunch, PHARTZ. And the bike is up on the lift, ready to go. I'm going to install the chain now, so there's nothing exciting going to happen. This is pretty boring. But here's the chain, nice Reynolds thin wall. And here's the bike with a sprocket. And I'm going to combine the two. First thing I'm going to do is run these adjusters all the way in so that the wheel is as far forward as it will go. Then I'll install the chain and adjust it for as tight as I can get it with a little slack. And if it's too slack, then I'll start adjusting the adjusters to take up the extra slack. And as long as I make it somewhere in the range of the adjusters, that'll be correct. So let me set up the tripod and let you watch, and I'll try to tell you what I'm doing. Okay, fine, here we go. Loosening the lock nut, running the lock nut all the way down. I've heard that WD-40 is not really a lubricant. It just plays one on TV. WD-40. WD stands for water displacement. And 40 is the, apparently the 40th formula they tried. Spray this stuff into crevasses between sheet metal and things like that may have water accumulated in them, and theoretically it will float the water out. Or something, water displacing. So that's what I've heard about WD-40. Water displacing, formula 40th try. And one side went really smoothly, and the other side's not. All right. Okay, the adjusters are all the way in. I can move the rear wheel forward now. Safety catch. Surprise me. Not stock. I didn't keep count. I'm going to wonder how many. Well, interesting. A metric 23 is loose, and a 7/8 is loose. I love it when nothing fits. Oh, this guy's got a anti-torque rod in here. This guy. That's going to have to be loosened at both ends, probably. It's not a stock wheel. Okay. It's not a 15 millimeter. Could be 17 mil. And it's turning. Let's try some of these. Okay. That end is metric. Now let's see if this floats. Yep, it does very nicely. In other words, the other end is shouldered. Okay, so we're all the way forward at this point on both sides of the wheel. And this is always the fun part, to thread the, actually not bad, there's no chain guard. I can actually get my hand all the way down in there. I've reached the front sprocket. If I can catch a tooth, I can start spinning. I'll cut it out. Yeah, I'm just going to drop it on the chain, on the front sprocket, no problem. I'm just going to drop it right on. Here I go, just dropping it right on. Now I'm just going to rotate that front sprocket, which for some reason is stiff. There we go. Okay. Taking it around and taking it around. A little bit of slack. There we go. Here we go around the front sprocket. Front sprocket. Front sprocket. Here we go down the front sprocket. Early in the afternoon. All right. And there you go. Now the fun part is, I get to do this twice. The second time is easier because I'll show you how to use the old chain as a guide. This actually fits very nicely. Yep. I can grind that off very nicely. Okay. All right, show you what I got. I'll bring the camera over. This is a 120 link chain. They didn't have 110 in stock when I bought it, so I took it. And I've just marked this link right here. I'm just going to take this off and put my master link right across here. Okay? I'm going to stop this for a minute. What I'm going to do now is use the old chain. I'm just going to take the old chain, hook it to the new chain, and let the new chain pull it through and stay in place while I take the new chain out. Now I'm going to cut this chain to length and put it back on. Okay, now let's just go over and take the link out. I'll use a chain breaker on it just to show you that I have one. Actually, I have a couple of them. Just need to reach in here to one of my fancy dancy drawers and got two different ones. I'll just use this one. I'll tell you a chain breaker story. I was riding across country going to Sturgis the first time. Me and my buddy Paul Custer. We pulled into a campground, and I went into the office, and as we did, I saw about 5 or 6 Harley guys, old Harleys, choppers, kneeling down next to a chopper, and they were doing something, I don't know what. But I went over, when we left, I went over and said hi, and said, what you doing? They said, we broke this primary chain, and we bought a new length of chain, but it's the wrong length, and we're having to file the link apart to get it out. And I said, oh, well, do you want a chain breaker? And they looked at me like, yeah. So I went over to my Norton and took out my toolkit and took out my little beaver chain breaker, which little thing about that big, and I gave it to them to use. And I said, when you get done, we'll be down this hill down around campground camping spot 6 or so, and just bring it on down. And truthfully, I said to myself, well, it's probably the last you're ever going to see of that chain breaker. But don't you know, about half an hour later, Paul and I were down there setting up our tents, and here comes the sound of thunder. And here come all those Harley riders down the hill. And they parked, and one guy got off and came over, handed me my chain breaker back and a 6-pack of beer. Said, thank you very much. Have a good day. I told them, have a good, safe ride. They got on their Harley Ferguson choppers, turned around, rode away. And I just always thought that was that's a neat story. So I still have that little beaver chain breaker. It's in my toolkit in my Norton. Okay, so let's go over here and install this. All right. So I'm going to hook this new chain to the end of the old chain. I think I'll work from the bottom this time and let it pull it into place. I'm going to put this master link in from the outside facing in, just so I make sure I have enough clearance on the inside of the primary case. All right. My hands are so slippery from this well-oiled chain. I've got enough slack here, so I don't have to really get a tool, of which I have several to use to pull this chain together, but I'm sure I have enough slack here to work with. Come on. I'm going to do it one more time, then I'll go get the puller together tool. I'm so slippery. There, okay. All right, now there it is facing the inside. Let's put this on. Put this on and face in the direction of travel. Let it slip up and over, snap into place. Double check from the opposite side. And there it is. Now, I'll show you something else I do. I put safety wire on this master link. I'll show you how I do it. I stock safety wire. All I have to do is find it. There you go. You put it behind the plate, the master link plate. It fits down the side. It doesn't rub on anything. It doesn't wear out. There's nothing for it to rub. But let's see if I can zoom in here. You can see what I'm doing. Let's move up here and slant you down there and zoom in a little bit more. Right about there. Let's see now, if I put my finger on this plate, that's the master link, and I try to figure out whether or not you can see it. All right. Can go through the link. Back out. Now they make safety wire pliers that once you clamp them on, you just pull a little job you do in the middle and it spins it up for you. We had them in the service. They're kind of cool. Give you a beautiful spiral. I don't have a pair. Probably wouldn't use them if I did, because all you're doing here is tightening this around, and I'll show you. Nice spiral here. If you want to get mil-spec on it, you put a little curly Q on the end. I probably won't do that. But you had to do it so that it meets the expectations of your quality assurance troops. So I'm just going to cut this one right about here. And use a pair of long nose. Just spin it around like this. Okay, now I'm going to get the camera and I'll show you a close-up. I'll show you a close-up of what I just did, which, looking from this side, I could have put on the wrong link. That would be funny. No, it wouldn't be funny, Frank. Well, all right. I think it would be funny. That's true, Frank, but you're weird. Okay. So there it is. That's not going to row up against anything. And this is what it looks like from the other side. See how it goes around the master link clip? So it's not going to rub on anything. Will not rub on the sprockets. It's in the area that's between rub zones, shall we say. And so right now that takes care of this. All right, well, the chain's in place. The tire wheel is fully forward on its adjuster all the way forward. Just as it is, the chain play is not that bad, my goodness. I've had bikes come in here with more than that. So what I'm going to do now is use the adjusters to bring the wheel back and to tighten it out, tighten it up just a little bit. And then we will check the alignment, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. I'll be right back. All right, I'm actually back a little sooner than I expected. I want to show you the tool that I've used to align the wheels. It's a long rod made out of scrap rod. bent over at one end, and then with a pointer wrapped around it at the other end. And this can be slid like so. And what you do is you put this around a known point on the wheel or something, for example, right there. Something that you know on this side is the exact same place on the other side. Usually a nut or a bolt or a frame member. And then you slide the slider down to the center of the rod, right to the center of the axle, like that. Okay? Now when you take this over to the other side and go to the same known position on this side, let's assume that this is it. And right away I've got the muffler in my way. Maybe if I can come in from the back. You can then take this, I'm doing this one-handed, sorry, like this, go down here and see how far you are from the center of the axle. Now you can see right here, I'm about 1/8 of an inch, okay? So when I do this for real, I'll move this back a little until I get where I want it and with the proper chain tension. So it's just using a really good measuring device made out of scraps. And I've made one for just about every friend I know. They're very handy. No lasers, no straight edges, just a stupid piece of wire. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, first of all, you're going to see me bouncing back and forth side to side as I take up the slack. With the wheel up in the air, I want it a little bit looser than you would think. Actually, yeah, a little bit looser than you'd normally think. So I'm just going to move these adjusters out to take up some slack, move the wheel back. I could be counting turns or counting flats over here, but I'm not. Okay, so now, see, that's not bad. I like that. I can live with that. All right, let's see how it works out when I adjust it. As soon as I figure out what I did with, oh yeah, I'll use this one right here. So let's see, what's a nice place to use? I mean, this is a nice hole. On this bike, actually this nut back here behind the passenger peg is probably good. Let's see how it works on the other side. Right now I've got it centered in the middle of this axle, okay? Using the bolt on this passenger peg. I'm going to go over and see if it'll work over here. This muffler is getting in my way a tad bit. So let's go back in here. Put it over the bolt. Fits very nicely. And I can tell right now that this one is straight a pull as possible. Not good, because I can't get a straight shot. I want a straight shot because I don't want the measuring stick to be bent, because that would throw us off a billionth of an inch or so. What's it up against? It's up against the head of a bolt. All right, let's try from this bolt. Let's go way up here. I'll try to get this side smooth, then I'll see how it works from the other side. So this side, I'm going to go to this one way up here and see how it works. Right, I'm in the center of the axle on this side, going with this Allen right here Do I have a corresponding Allen? I do. Can I get a wire on it? I don't know. This is a complicated little bike. And the answer is no, I can't. Okay, then let's try for an alternative. I could use a real short one like this, but I figure the longer length gives you a better measurement. All right, so let's go back to using this hole in this foot peg, this pseudo Z-bar, and see how I can do it over here. It's easier on a stock bike. Actually, that's not bad. Okay, so this guy has to go in a little bit. All right, with that one closer. That's still pretty good. Okay, now what I'm going to do now is just snug the axle a little bit more. There, just to take the play out. If you're working on a nice non-custom bike, you can use a center punch to put a dimple right in the middle of that axle. That makes it really nice to work with. Okay, it's dead nuts on both sides. All right, so at this point I'm going to tighten the axle down a little bit more. Okay, now I'm going to do a double triple check. Make sure nothing's moved. And that I'm still satisfied with that much slack. Now remember that the wheel's off the ground. It might get a little tighter when it comes down. I don't mind. This is a brand new chain, and half the tightness in it is the fact that it's just full of oil, grease, oil. So anyway, at this point in time, what I'm going to do is go back and tighten up that anti-torque bar on the other side. All right. Things still look good. I'm going to tighten down the locking nut on the adjusters while keeping the adjusters in the same position. That's lovely. Yeah, it's kissing it, but that's not bad. Now, having done all that, I'm still comfy with this. I'm going to tighten this down, put this locking clip in it. Actually, I'm really tight right there. I could use that hole. Let's see how it goes. Now I'm just going to use that hole. There we go. Now, having done all that, I'm going to try to find an alternate source and double check everything I did, just in case there's a difference there that I couldn't pick up. Let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I don't know. That's pretty good. There's an Allen bolt right here. Let's go back to the center of this. Find that Allen bolt on the other side. Try to get down around this darn muffler. And eyeballing it from vertical, I can see that it's in the center. Just too much stuff over here in the way. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah, I hear it. It's just the chain going side to side. I'm good with it. All right, so that's just one of 700 different ways of putting a chain on and aligning the rear wheel. Everything from one guy used a fluorescent light bulb as a straight edge. Okay. Another guy built a nice straight edge, you know, like a almost 8-foot long straight edge. He went from the outside of one tire to the other, outside of the other tire, compensating for the fact that this one's wider than that one, and that worked okay. Another guy measures the gap here behind the adjusters. As long as it's the same on both sides, that's okay. So another guy measures the length of the adjusters themselves. If they're the same, that's okay. One guy counts the number of flats, makes sure that both sides have the same number of flats. That's okay. 700 different ways of doing this. I happen to like my little slidey wire gauge checker jobby-do that I made 20 years ago and have made half a dozen for friends. So that's where we are. Chain is on. This bike is actually ready for a test ride. I'll see when, but take it down, put it off to the side, and then see when Kevin can come down here and help me document a test ride. That's where we are. Bike is coming down off the lift. Okay, quick addendum. I know somebody out there is thinking, okay, Frank, did you really tighten that axle nut enough? Let's see if I can get it one more notch on that locking pin. Let me move you over here so you can watch. Here we go. Gonna work real hard. As soon as I get the right wrench. Well, now I've got half a hole, so let's see. Okay, coming up on the hole. Coming up on the hole. Okay. Nope, not there yet. Yeah, it's tight enough. I love it. Which end of the wrench do you use as a hammer? Normally, I normally use this end. All right, there. Go ahead, comment.